The signal from the black edge. The black edge of space had always been quiet. That part of the Orion sector had no trade routes, no colonies, and no known threats. It was cold, dark, and forgotten. So when a strange signal blinked into the eye, Cernak Outpost's sensors, Commander Rallick knew something wasn't right. He stood over the glowing console, his 4 fingers tapping the side of the display. "What is that?" he asked his junior officer. "It's not one of ours. The signal pattern is unknown." "But it's big, sir." "A ship." Rallick narrowed his eyes. The Cernak Empire had ruled this section of the galaxy for over 600 years. Every ship, every code, every model was documented. There were no surprises left in this region. Or at least, that's what he believed. Until now. "Send a probe," he said. "Get a close scan." The probe zipped through space, silent and invisible. As it neared the object, its scanners began working. The results started coming in. First came the size. It was enormous. Bigger than any civilian vessel. Heavier than any Cernak warship. Its surface was covered in thick unknown metal, dark gray with no visible marks or lights. "Do we have an origin?" Rallick asked. "No, sir. No engine signatures we recognize. No language, no ID tags. It's quiet. But it's not drifting, it's holding position." That scared him more. Dead ships drift. Active ones hover. This ship was watching. Rallick leaned closer to the screen. The data from the scan was complete now, but it didn't make any sense. The probe had picked up dense armor plating and strange energy systems beneath the hull. It had weapon ports, at least 2 dozen, each large enough to hold planetary siege cannons, and there were signs of some kind of dark matter reactor, but the tech was unfamiliar. "What kind of ship is this?" he whispered. Then the computer stopped. Not froze, stopped. All displays turned black for 2 seconds. When they returned, the screen showed only one word: watching. The officers on the bridge looked at each other, their skin pale. Rallick's voice was quiet now. "It hacked us?" "It's not possible. We have shielding on every level." Rallick's stomach twisted. Only one species had been rumored to control technology that could do such things. But they were myths, stories told in back rooms, shadows in old war records. One word kept coming up when he thought of impossible weapons, unknown energy, and cold silence in space. Humans, but they were gone, vanished centuries ago. After the Terran conflicts, they had disappeared from the star charts. No sightings, no messages, no contact. Could it be them? Someone asked softly. Rallick didn't answer. Instead, he ordered the probe to send one final active scan, deep and detailed. It was a mistake. The moment the scan hit the strange ship, the feed cut again. The probe went dark. A few seconds later, the warship lit up. Its surface shimmered with dull red lines, like veins coming alive. A long cannon unfolded slowly from the front hull, aimed straight at the Cernak outpost. "Shields up!" Rallick shouted. But he knew they wouldn't be fast enough. The warship fired, but not a beam, not a missile. It released a pulse, silent and silver, that rushed through the void and struck the station like a wave of ice. All lights went out. Screens died, doors locked, and then came the message. One simple message printed in the old Terran language. "You scanned without consent. This is your only warning." Rallick stood frozen. This was no ghost ship, no relic, no pirate. The humans were back, and they didn't like being watched. The Council's silence, continuation of, they scanned the human warship and what they found made them panic. Style, third person, simple English, suspenseful tone back at the Cernak High Council. The silence was deep and heavy. The Grand Chamber, normally full of debate, arguing, and loud voices, was still. Every holographic display showed the same thing: a frozen image of the unknown human warship, glowing faint red against the black background of space. Only a few seconds of video had been recovered before the outpost systems were completely disabled. The last message: "You scanned without consent. This is your only warning." Still blinked on every terminal. High Commander Teller, the oldest member of the Council, stood slowly. Do we have confirmation this is not a trick? He asked. No. Trick, replied the science minister. Our teams verified the signal. It is not forged. And the language is ancient Terran. Exact match to Earth's final war code dialect. That word again. Terran. It made the room feel colder. An ambassador from the Outer Rim spoke up. I thought the humans destroyed each other. I thought they were gone forever. We all thought that, Teller muttered. But that ship was real. And that message was meant for us. Another counselor, smaller and more nervous, leaned forward. What else do we know? What about the warship systems? The science minister hesitated. We tried to run a passive scan before shutting down the program. We found energy levels far beyond our top vessels. Their ship runs on something like dark matter fusion, but it's purer, more controlled, no radiation loss, clean and efficient. Impossible, another voice said. That kind of technology doesn't exist. It does now, the minister answered. And the humans have it. The room fell into another deep silence. The military counselor slammed his hand on the desk. Then we must act. We must destroy it before it reaches one of our colonies. This may be the beginning of another Terran war. But we don't even know if it's hostile, someone said. They destroyed our probe. No. They disabled it, the minister corrected. If they wanted to, they could have destroyed the outpost. They didn't. That made everyone pause. The ship hadn't attacked. It had warned them. Controlled, cold, calculated. Teller rubbed his forehead slowly. Send a long-range drone, no scans, no probes, just a message, a simple one. What message? The ambassador asked. Teller looked out the high chamber's window into the stars. Ask them who they are and what they want. The message. They didn't expect, continuation of, they scanned the human warship and what they found made them panic. Style, third person, simple English, suspense-driven tone. The drone was launched from a deep space station, far from the ship's location. It carried no weapons, no scans, only a recorded message in neutral code. This is the Cernak High Council. We acknowledge your presence. We ask for peaceful contact. Identify yourself. State your intent. The drone was programmed to approach slowly, stop at the outer edge of the strange warship's sensor range, and play the message on repeat. Hours passed. Then a full day. No answer. In the council chambers, some believed the humans wouldn't respond. Others thought silence meant danger. But just as they were preparing to send another drone, the ship answered. One short video file arrived. It was heavily encrypted, but not with a new system. It used old Terran war encryption, almost forgotten by current technology. The science team took hours to unlock it. When it finally played, the image was shocking. A single human stood in a dark control room. A man, middle-aged, calm, wearing a plain gray uniform with no rank. His eyes were focused, cold, and tired. His voice was clear but heavy, like it carried history. You reached where you were not invited. Your scan was an act of aggression. We responded with restraint. This ship belongs to no empire. We are not your enemy, unless you make us one. This is the Terran vessel Vigilance. If you wish for peace, stay away. If you send weapons, we will return war. The screen went black. That was it. No coordinates, no names, no diplomacy. Just warning, and a clear choice. When the message ended, the council room stayed silent again. They're not negotiating, Teller said. They're watching. The ambassador to the outer colony stood, shaking. This could be a scout ship. There might be more coming. Or, maybe, Teller replied, they never left. Maybe they've just been hiding, waiting. The military leader slammed the desk again. We cannot allow a Terran warship to roam free. It's a threat to stability. And if we attack, said the science minister, we might wake up an entire Terran fleet we thought was dead. No one spoke after that. Because deep down they all remembered the old stories, the ones about Earth's final war. The stories of human soldiers who fought without fear, human ships that refused, to die, and human weapons that tore through entire fleets, and now one of those ships was back. The hidden truth about Earth. Continuation of they scanned the human warship and what they found made them panic. Style. Third person, simple English, suspense and mystery tone. The historians were called in next. In a quiet underground archive. Below the Capitol, Council researchers opened sealed files. Records marked restricted Terran War era. Files no one had touched in over 200 years. Old reports, blurry images, damaged audio, all showing the same things. Human warships that vanished without explanation. Terran soldiers who survived impossible odds. And one final battle. A fight that ended with Earth going completely silent. The last known transmission from Earth was a warning. We do not surrender. We do not forget. We only wait. The files suggested something terrifying. The humans had never been defeated. They had simply withdrawn. A young historian, Juno, read through the final pages with wide eyes. This was not a loss, she whispered. It was a choice. They chose to disappear. Her mentor, an old researcher named Marin, nodded slowly. They called it the Vanishing Protocol. The Terran Alliance erased its presence from the galaxy. No transmissions, no activity, no trace. But why? She asked. To prepare, Marin said quietly. To build in silence. To become something else. In the highest chamber, Teller was given the findings. He stared at the old holograms. Pictures of Earth's last ships, their designs strangely similar to the vessel now floating in Sector 7. The data showed something else too. Earth's surface had once been full of life, cities, and towers. But after the final battle, orbital scans showed massive underground construction. Then no more scans were allowed. Every probe sent after that simply vanished. They buried their cities, Teller asked. Or turned the planet itself into a fortress, the science minister replied. Earth may now be a hidden war world. That was when Teller made his decision. No more drones. No more messages. We need someone to speak to them face to face. Someone who won't cause fear. The ambassador asked, who would volunteer for such a thing? Teller looked at the silent screen again. Find a diplomat with no military history. Someone who believes in peace. Someone brave enough to step onto that ship. Aboard the Vigilance. Continuation of, they scanned the human warship, and what they found made them panic. Style. Third person, simple English. Suspenseful tone, the shuttle moved slowly through the darkness, gliding toward the warship known as Vigilance. Inside the shuttle sat a single passenger, Lara, a calm and determined diplomat. She had no rank, no weapons, and no war medals. She was chosen for one reason. She believed peace was still possible. As the shuttle neared the Terran ship, its engines dimmed. The human vessel didn't react. No targeting systems activated, no weapons locked on. It just waited. Lara spoke softly into the mic. This is Lara, representative of the Cernak Council. I come in peace. I request permission to board. Nothing. Then the shuttle was pulled forward, gently but firmly, by an invisible force. A docking bay opened slowly, glowing with dim blue lights. Her shuttle drifted inside, guided like a leaf on a river. The docking bay was large, silent, and spotless, and no crew visible. No machines moved. As she stepped out, her boots clicked softly on the dark metal floor. Her voice echoed as she called out, "Hello? I am unarmed. I mean, no harm." Lights lit up ahead, guiding her path. She followed them. The corridors of the Vigilance were strange, built for function, not comfort. Walls showed signs of old battles, scratches, dented panels, scorched marks. But they were clean, as if the ship still remembered its scars. Finally, she reached a chamber. Inside stood the same man from the earlier video. His uniform was simple, his expression calm but unreadable. "You came," he said. "I did," Lara replied. "I wanted to speak face to face." He nodded slowly. "That hasn't happened in a long time." Are you human? The man paused, then answered, I am. One of the last born before the fall. The others are in cryosleep. We woke only when the scanners detected your probe. It wasn't just a scan, it pierced the hull. That was considered an attack. Lara looked down. That was a mistake, not an act of war. The man walked to a console and brought up a hologram. It showed dozens, no, hundreds, of ships like the Vigilance, still dark, still asleep. You think I'm alone? He asked. This ship is a scout. The others sleep beneath Earth's crust. They have waited 2 centuries. Lara's voice trembled slightly. Waited for what? He turned to face her. For a sign that the galaxy still remembers war. That old enemies still lurk. That peace was only a pause. She took a step forward. We're not enemies. The galaxy has changed. Empires have risen and fallen. Maybe it's time Earth returns, not as a threat but as part of the galaxy again. His eyes locked on hers, unblinking. That depends on what happens next. If your leaders choose peace, we will listen, but if they aim weapons at us... He didn't need to finish the sentence. Lara nodded slowly. Then let me be your voice. Let me carry your message. He looked at her one last time, then handed her a small crystal data cube. Give this to your council. Then we will decide. The decision, continuation of they scanned the human warship and what they found made them panic. Style, third person, simple English, suspenseful tone. Lara returned to the Cernak council chamber, holding the small data cube in both hands as if it were a flame. She was escorted straight to the center platform, where the leaders of the Empire waited. 10 figures seated in silence, their eyes filled with worry, fear, and curiosity. She placed the cube in the projection port. A blue light blinked once, and then the message began. The same man from the Vigilance appeared again. This time he stood before a large window with Earth in the background. But this was not the green and blue Earth from history. It was armored. Layers of metal covered parts of the surface. Giant towers reached into orbit. Swarms of sleeping ships circled in low atmosphere. His voice was calm but cold. We did not forget. We did not forgive. We prepared. For 200 years we watched. Your empires rise, we watched your wars, your broken treaties, your betrayals. We did not interfere. But we remembered. If you seek war, know this. The war will not end on our soil. It will end on yours. But if you want peace, true peace, we will listen. We will not lead. We will not follow. But we may stand beside you if trust is earned. The image faded. Silence followed. No one moved. No one spoke. Then one voice broke through. It was the military leader. We should prepare a fleet. They've admitted they're ready for war. We can't allow Earth to return with that kind of power unchecked. Another counselor shook his head. And if we strike first, we'll wake them all. Not just one ship, all of them. Teller finally stood, raising a hand. Enough. He looked to Lara. You met him. You saw their world. What do you believe? Lara took a breath. They don't want to conquer, they just want to be left alone, but they're ready. If we push them, they'll answer and we won't survive. Teller turned slowly toward the rest of the council. Then the choice is clear. He pressed a key on his panel. Transmission sent. This is the Cernak High Council. We acknowledge your warning. We seek peace. Let us begin again. Lara exhaled in relief. But deep in her heart, she knew the galaxy had changed. Earth had returned, not as a broken world, but as a silent giant. And this time, no one could ignore it. The war that never came. Final part of, they scanned the human warship, and what they found made them panic. Style. Third person, simple English, emotional and thoughtful ending. The days turned into weeks, then months. Across the stars, fleets paused their training. Borders once tightly guarded became still. The Vigilance did not move. It hovered in silence, watching, waiting, but it never fired again. And Earth? Still no broadcasts, No diplomats. No trade ships. Only that one silent message echoed across systems. We are awake. Choose wisely. The Cernak Council honored their word. No more probes entered Terran space. No more scans. Instead, they sent small packages, gifts, peace offerings. One contained ancient human books, carefully restored. Another held seeds of rare alien plants, once thought extinct. Each gift was delivered the same way, quietly left near the edge of the Vigilance's sensor range. No reply ever came, but none were destroyed either. That said enough. Other empires took notice. The Kellan, the Drakari, the Yenu Syndicate, all once rivals, suddenly found common ground. If Earth was back, they would not survive alone. For the first time in centuries, old enemies began to speak. Peace treaties long forgotten were dusted off. And in the middle of it all, Earth remained still. Lara became a symbol across the stars. She had walked onto the Vigilance and returned alive. Her face was broadcast on peaceful channels. She spoke to millions, repeating the same message. They don't want war, but they will finish it if we start it. In the darkness of deep space below Earth's now armored sky, hundreds of Terran warships stayed in their deep rest. The humans slept, trained, and waited. Not for revenge, but for the right reason to rise. And yet, the war never came. Because the galaxy remembered the price of waking sleeping giants, and this time it chose peace.